Hey y'all, I'm Krystal, and welcome to my kitchen, and welcome to my newest series, the 12 Days of Cookies. Now I'm filming this first video as part of a collaboration with Two Family Homestead's Christmas cookie collaboration. I'll go ahead and link their video down in the description box. Now for the next 12 days, I'm going to be making some of my family's favorite Christmas cookies and also a few new ones that I've seen posted on Pinterest and Facebook that look interesting enough to try. So for today's video, we are going to start with the classic sugar cookie. You honestly cannot go wrong with a great sugar cookie recipe, and I've got one for you today. Now today's recipe is, technically speaking, a no-chill recipe. However, I have a trick to keep the shapes of your cookies after you cut them perfect after the cook process. Let's get started. Now we're going to start with 1 cup of room temperature butter. Now room temperature butter is flexible and it bends easily without breaking. To that, we're going to add 1 cup of granulated sugar. We're going to mix this well on a medium-high. Now a couple of minutes in, it's a good idea to stop and scrape down the sides of your bowl. That way you're ensured that everything gets mixed together well. Now a really great way to tell if your butter and sugar are creamed together is to actually feel it. If it feels grainy like wet sand, it's not ready, and keep on whisking. Now this process should take somewhere between 3 and 5 minutes. And when you're all done, you should have a very nice, smooth, light, fluffy consistency. Now it's time to add in 3 teaspoons of vanilla. And after all of that mixing, it's time to cool that butter down. You want to let this rest in the fridge between 10 and 20 minutes. In the culinary world, room temperature is somewhere between 65 and 67 degrees. We are going to sift together 3 cups of all-purpose flour. Now, if you notice, I'm not shaking down the flour off of my cup. I'm actually scraping the excess flour off the top of the measuring cup by using the flat edge of a butter knife. Now we're going to add in 2 teaspoons of baking powder and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I'm going to sift all of these ingredients together, and I'm actually going to sift this 3 times. Sifting it multiple times just adds a little bit of air into the flour and just makes for a lighter flour going in. To me, it really helps to keep those cookies tender. And last time. And if you're wondering, this is just a fine mesh strainer. Now it's time to combine the wet ingredients with the dry ingredients. And I'm just going to add in 1/4 cup of flour at a time. We definitely don't want to overmix or overwork the dough. And last ingredients. Give it 1 good whirl. And time to turn this out onto a floured surface. Now you'll notice that some of the flour actually looks like wet sand, and that's okay. We're going to knead it all together, and it's going to come together pretty quickly here. See, our cookie dough is nice and shiny. Everything is incorporated in, and it just took a quick few minutes. Now I'm actually going to cut this in half. It's just going to make it a little bit easier for me to work. The other half that I'm not using at this time, I'm going to put into a bowl and put a damp paper towel on top of it just to keep it from drying out, and then back into the fridge it goes. Now on a very, very lightly floured surface, we're going to start to roll out our dough. Make sure you lightly flour the top and your rolling pin as well. Give it a nice press and gentle roll. And you might want to turn it about a quarter way and just keep rolling. If it feels a little sticky, add a tiny bit more flour. Flip it over, a little bit more flour, and we're going to roll this out to a 1/4 inch thickness. Rotating again. Now our shape doesn't have to be perfect here. We just want to get a nice 1/4 inch thickness. And it's time to cut the cookies. Now you want to make sure that you kind of flour the edge of your cookie cutters just so it doesn't stick. You want to press down and give it a little wiggle. Now it's time to pick the cookies up and put them onto our baking sheet. Now I like to use a flat knife for this. You just want to make sure that you're not pulling too much at those cookies because you can definitely stretch them out of place. Now here's my final trick. I'm going to stick this entire pan in the refrigerator for 20 minutes. Keeping them nice and cold will help the sugar cookies not to spread so much during the cooking process. Out of the fridge, you can see they're cold. We're going to bake these at 350 degrees for 8 to 10 minutes. All done! Look, they are absolutely perfect. Now I'm going to let these rest on their cookie pan for 10 minutes before I move them to a wire rack to cool completely. So we are all done, and as you can see, they turned out absolutely perfect. Chilling them in the fridge for 20 minutes just before you bake ensures that they don't spread too much on you and they keep their shape really, really well. Now this recipe does make 3 dozen or 36 cookies, and that really kind of depends on your cookie cutter size. If you've got really big cookie cutters, then you can end up with less than 36, but if you have really small cookie cutters, you can end up with more. So these cookies are ready to decorate now. Now, these cookies, even though they're nice and sturdy, I would still consider them very soft. See? These cookies, as is, without any additional decorating or icing or anything, in my opinion, are perfect to have with a nice hot cup of coffee, hot cup of cocoa, or a hot cup of tea. Y'all, I hope you enjoyed the video today. I hope you found it informative, and I hope that I've inspired you to get into your kitchen and make a nice batch of sugar cookies. And until the next recipe, y'all be blessed. Bye.